Welcome to the Binge List. I am your host, Paul Chappell. This is the inaugural episode of the Binge List Season 3. Thanks for joining me. I wasn't going to do a recap of every WandaVision episode, but if you saw that last episode, episode 4, oh my God, it had so much to unpack. It's just amazing. I told you guys that you were going to have to be patient. Well, now you see why. But before we get into that, let's get into episode 3. Now in Color is the name of the episode. Not a lot happened. The most important thing that happened, of course, was that Wanda goes through a rapid pregnancy. She gives birth to 2 boys, Tommy and William, also known as Billy, according to what Vision calls them. We know from the comics that these, of course, are her 2 children that she created using magic in the comics. I don't know whether they're going that way with the show. From what we know from the MCU, Wanda and Vision were alone together. I think it was in Scotland, hiding out after the Civil War drama. They were living a normal life, and then, of course, Vision was killed by Thanos. The Mind Stone was taken, and Wanda disappeared in a blip. Then she came back in Avengers Endgame. So here's my question right away. We get some indication later that, yes, Vision is in fact dead. There's even a little Easter egg where they show Wanda looking at Vision and she sees him as he was in his dead state with the Mind Stone ripped from his head. So we know he's dead. We know he's probably a simulation. My question is, in the comics, he can't get Wanda pregnant because he's an android. Are they changing it in the MCU? Because conceivably, if they were spending time in Scotland, they had sex, of course. Maybe she was already pregnant when she got blipped out of existence, and then she comes back. And we know this simulation, whatever you want to call it, it happens right after she comes back from the blip, because we know that because we'll see that in the next episode. But let's just finish. So I'm getting far too ahead of myself. Let's just finish what happened in episode 3. Wanda is talking about the fact that she was also a twin to Geraldine. Geraldine mentions that Wanda's brother, Pietro, or we also know him as Quicksilver, that he was killed by Ultron, and Wanda gets immediately suspicious. She's like, who are you? How did you know that? So there is some indication that Wanda knows she's in a simulation and that the people in the simulation are actual real people. There's a couple of instances where the characters are talking about being trapped. In fact, the doctor who they bring to help Wanda deliver her children, but he ends up arriving late. He says something to Vision about not being able to escape Westview. So these people are real. There's some indication that they know they're trapped in a simulation and that they can't get out. But Geraldine breaks through whatever programming this new reality has given her, and she reveals to Wanda that yes, she knows who Wanda is. She knows about the events of the Avengers 2, the Ultron movie. She knows about all of that. And as a result, we see in the next scene that Geraldine has disappeared. Vision asks, where is she? And Wanda just says, oh, she went home. And then at the very end of the episode, we see her being ejected from this energy field surrounding Westview. We see a whole encampment of people, government agents. It's SWORD. And we know it's SWORD because right before Wanda ejects Geraldine, she sees that Geraldine is wearing a SWORD pendant. Now, SWORD, in case you don't know, stands for, it's something in the comics. It's an offshoot of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's called the Sentient World Observation and Response Department. And we had indication of that SWORD was going to play a role in a future movie, or, in this case, a television series. From the end of Spider-Man Far From Home, we see Samuel Jackson aboard this alien spaceship. So it can only be SWORD And of course, this is all going to have a further relevance when we get to episode 4. So, starting out right away, we get an Easter egg. Not really an Easter egg. We see Monica Rambeau returning from being blipped out of existence by Thanos. And it's kind of scary to see her come back, because the first thing that happens when she comes back into existence is she takes this deep breath. That made it more real to me for some reason. It just and was kind of creeped me out. We found out that Monica was in the hospital because her mother had some kind of surgery for her cancer, and that she was going to recover. When she blips back, of course, her mother is gone. Who is her mother? Her mother is Maria Rambeau, which was a character in the Captain Marvel movie. And Monica is actually the daughter of Maria Rambeau. And she was a little girl in the Captain Marvel movie. So this is all cool. And of course, we find out that her mother has since died. When she was blipped out of existence, her cancer returned within that interval of 5 years, and that she has subsequently died. Okay, but Monica returns to her job at Sword, which her mother co-founded. Now, that's something I think they just did in MCU. I don't think there's any indication from the comic that her mother actually started Sword. But Monica is the second Captain Marvel. She's also known as a Photon or Pulsar and Spectrum. So she has many names, but she was introduced as the second Captain Marvel in the comic. So that is her backstory so far. She is grounded by the director of Sword. He tells her that anybody who blimps back is relegated to terrestrial duties specifically on Earth and not in outer space. And she's disappointed, but she complies, and she's sent on a missing persons case in New Jersey. So it's here where a bunch of things happen. First of which is a bunch of characters are reintroduced into the MCU. And of course, I'm talking about, first of all, we see Kate Dennings, who plays Darcy Lewis. Darcy Lewis was a scientist in the original Thor movie and also the sequel, Thor: The Dark World. So Kate Dennings, she comes back with her fake glasses, I guess, to make her appear like she's a scientist and not the waitress from Two Broke Girls. But I love the fact that they brought her back. I love the fact that they brought Randall Park back. He's playing FBI agent Jimmy Woo. You might remember him from Ant-Man and the Wasp. He was the FBI agent in charge of keeping tabs on Ant-Man. And he had that hilarious exchange with Ant-Man at the end of the movie. Apparently, someone in the Witness Protection Agency is missing. He goes to Westview, and nobody knows that Westview exists. At least the local residents don't. So there's some indication here that Wanda is so powerful that she can make people forget about a place that actually exists. We see a sign on the highway pointing to Westview. So it is a real place. And we find out later that everybody who's a character in Westview is actually a real person in that town, because they've been identifying them with driving records and whatnot. So this is all very interesting. I want to point out a couple of Easter eggs that we saw in some early episodes. One was that helicopter, and I didn't notice this the first time I saw it. When you see Wanda pick it up, it actually has a sword symbol on the side. Well, we find out in episode 4 that was a drone that Monica Rambeau had sent into this energy field that seemingly disappeared. Well, it reappeared on the other side. Everything that goes through this energy field is reimagined as their 50s counterpart. That's why that guy who came out the sewer is actually a sword agent. He appeared as a beekeeper because his appearance changed because of this simulation that Wanda has created around this town. So another thing, And let's just go through a few Easter eggs here. Kate Dennings mentions that her equipment registered an extremely high level of CMBR. CMBR is cosmic microwave background radiation. Why is this important? Well, the director of SWORD, he mentions that this radiation dates back to the Big Bang. And what do we know about the Big Bang is related to the MCU? Well, we know that the Infinity Stones were created during the Big Bang. And we know that Wanda got her powers from one of those Infinity Stones, the Mind Stone. So it would make sense that her power being used to create this simulation would give out this CMBR. So that makes a lot of sense. Kate Dennings finds this broadcast overlaying that radiation and is, of course, a television broadcast. I'm assuming this is the energy field surrounding Westview. It appears as a hexagon. Now, I mentioned in my last video about WandaVision that this was AIM. What's interesting here in this shot, Agent Wu is writing on this board here, why hexagonal shape. So we can confirm right here that AIM is not actually influencing Wanda anyway. We do know that AIM, this division of Hydra, actually created her, and that she is manufacturing these hexagonal shapes, I guess, as a reference to that. And I thought that was kind of weird, but it makes a little bit more sense now because I didn't notice earlier. In fact, this happened at the end of the first episode. The broadcast itself is in that hexagonal shape, as you can see here. The last Easter egg I want to point out, at the end of the episode, we see what actually happened to Monica Rambeau when Wanda discovers that she is a SWORD agent. We see that the red orbs for the first time. I don't think we've actually seen that throughout the first 3 episodes. So here, she's actually showing her power. I think it's an indication that she understands that she's in this fake reality, and that when the actual reality intrudes on her, we see this is in color. And then in this scene, she uses her real power. She reveals it to a participant in this simulation because she's about to eject her. So I think that's what the significance of her showing her powers here. So this is all very interesting. I expect there to be some crazy hijinks in the next episode. Is that an oxymoron? But I don't know. I look forward to it. I'm happy that they finally revealed the other side of the curtain. I mean, I know a lot of people were being impatient about what this show was actually about. In fact, I was feeling a little bit impatient by the end of that 3rd episode. And I was thinking they really need to move it along. So that's all the little Easter eggs in these episodes. I'm very encouraged by what they did here, and I'm encouraged by them bringing in yet another possible Avenger to the fold. And I think Teyonah Parris is perfect for this part. She's just a great actress, and you know, we have yet another black superhero. Yay! So yeah, I'm just happy that what they're doing. I'm happy that they're bringing back all these different characters. It just makes this universe so much more immersive and just fun. This is so fun. That's what the operative word here. But yeah, that's all I got for today. Let me know in the comments down below if I missed anything. Give me a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you are a subscriber, ring that bell so you know when my next video drops. And I will see you when I see you. Thanks for watching.